everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of BIM After Dark Live. This is episode 62. I should have double checked that. 62, I believe, which is pretty awesome. And we're going to be talking about add-ins, Revit add-ins. I've got a guest, a returning guest, and you guys probably know him well. I'll introduce him soon. But we're going to be talking about add-ins, and we're going to run through our favorite add-ins. We're going to demo some of them, and I can almost guarantee you there's going to be at least one or two that you haven't seen that you're going to say, oh, that's going to change my life, because that's just what they do sometimes. So I'm super excited to show you these add-ins. I personally get this question quite a bit. You know, what add-ins do you have installed? What add-ins do you have installed? And luckily, Nick, my guest, we have pretty much a similar list, and so I'm super excited to bring him on. Before we jump into it, of course, we do have to thank our title sponsor of the show, which is Polycam. So Polycam, if you guys have watched the last couple episodes, you'll know I talked about it a little bit. It's an application for your iPhone or your iPad, and it uses your LiDAR or photos. It actually does do photogrammetry pretty well. And you can make scans, and you can export them in multiple formats, including point clouds and meshes that come into Revit. I will be actually focusing on this in a future episode to give you guys some of the workflow of that video you just saw, where I scanned my basement and brought it into Revit, and then that's 5 minutes of scanning my iPhone. Super cool. If you're interested, head on over to polycam.bimafterdark.com, or feel free to scan this QR code that's somewhere on my screen behind me with your device and download and install it. It's actually free to install and use. You can scan right away for free. If you want, there's a premium version that lets you export into multiple different formats. Super cool. I'm excited to tell you more about it in future episodes, but thanks for sponsoring the episode. Polycam, pretty cool, awesome little relationship. Okay, sweet. And I also did want to remind everyone that we are live. And so I already see the chat blowing up. I never have to worry about this chat being active, because you guys are always insanely active, and I love it so much. We've got folks from New Zealand, Australia. Fabio actually was an early bird onto the episode. He joined like 20 minutes ago. He's in London, where it's like 2 a.m. So Fabio, I hope your late night work is going well, and I hope we keep you entertained. And Eric, how's it going? What's everyone drinking? I've actually got a vodka soda with a little bit of cranberry tonight, because as Nick, my guest, who I'll introduce in a second, and I were just talking about, I now have 2 kids, and so when they go to bed, it's a great time to have a vodka cranberry. Oh man! All right, so I'm gonna introduce Nick. Let me turn on your audio, Nick, so we hear you. Nicholas, how you doing, man?
Hello, doing great. What about you?
I'm great, man. Welcome to the show again. I think this is your third or fourth time on.
It's I came twice as a regular guest, and then there was that all-star episode. So I
50.
guess it probably episode number 4. And I've got this little beer from a local brewery here in Quebec City. So it's a beer for cats. It's called the Catnip, an IPA from Nectem.
Is that one of those strong Canadian beers, like the 9 or 10 percenters, or no?
I don't know what percentage this one is. 7.5.
Oh,
so perhaps yeah.
I do remember. I've only been to Montreal once, and I do remember that was one of the things you had to look out for, was all beers aren't created equal, and some are pretty strong.
Yeah.
So you have to keep an eye out. Oh, Palm Springs, California. Nice. Welcome. Yes, Mary. All right. Awesome. So Nick, thanks for joining me again. I appreciate it. Congratulations on finishing a second season of your live show. For those of you who don't know,
Thanks.
Nick is the creator of RevitPure.com, and he did a live show. What was it, 6 or 7 episodes, I think, recently?
Yeah, it was a 6 episodes run, because I did a lot during the spring, and then I took a break for the summer, and then I thought, well, how do I bring back the show? So I thought I would do these shorter seasons of a few episodes.
Awesome.
So next one is probably going to be in January.
Awesome. Well, definitely check out Nick at RevitPure.com and his channel, and any links we mention here, I will definitely have in the description and so on. And so how are things, Nick?
They're great. Yeah, I don't know if we've had a chance to talk about it since, but yeah, I've been working on my own since March. and it's been a lot of fun. It's been great, pretty exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, and you've been doing a lot more BIM stuff than you thought, which I think is awesome because I think it's kept your mindset in a lot of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, well, going on my own, I was hoping to still get to do our architectural design, but I've been so busy with all the BIM contracts I had as a BIM consultant that I didn't have time to. But it's still my hope at some point.
Awesome, great. Let me see. Eric said, "Who's too quiet?" Eric, am I too quiet? If I'm too quiet, I'll crank it up a little bit. Sorry. Let me turn myself up a little bit. All right. Hey, Junior from Jamaica. How's it going? So hopefully you guys can hear me a little better now. It's always hard to balance audio between Zoom incoming audio and your outgoing audio. So hopefully this is a little better. If not, Eric, crank that volume up so you can hear me better. Awesome. And so today we're going to talk about add-ins. And Nick and I were planning on having an episode, and we were battling for a little bit of what we wanted to talk about. And I do think we landed on add-ins, which is a great topic. And I think it's going to be something of value. And it was perfect timing because I think just when you and I were chatting, I don't even know when it was, maybe a month ago, I got like 2 questions in my community about what add-ins, what add-ins do you have? What add-ins do you use? And I was like, oh, this is going to be perfect. I think this will be huge. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to run through a bunch of add-ins. We'll do some live demos, and the goal really is just to show you guys a bunch of cool add-ins, what they do, and how they can add value to you. Obviously, ask questions along the way. I'll be checking on the chat. I guess before we do jump into that, maybe for people who don't know who you are, I know we just kind of went on as if everyone knows you a little bit. Maybe give everyone just a hint of a little background of who you are, Nick, and what you do, where you come from.
Sure. I'm an architect, BIM specialist, founder of the website RevitPure.com, and I'm based here in Quebec City. I've been on the market working for about 10 years. I've worked as an architect and BIM manager for a local firm here in Quebec City. Also, at some point, I started the website Revit Pure that has been growing. So I decided to go on my own a while ago. Well, since last March. So I run the Revit Pure website. I have the live show and also have some premium courses that you can find at learn.revitpure.com. So that's an overview of what I do.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. And so, and I do know that you recently released a course and a bunch of content on BIM management and BIM managers. And so I think that ties in pretty well with this add-ins discussion. So I don't know if you want to touch on a little bit of how that connection, and I know we've got a various walks of people in this chat here, but I do know there's plenty of BIM managers. And so, I'd love you to sort of talk about maybe how what we're talking about today, I don't think it's only BIM managers that will get value out of these add-ins, but maybe how those two things kind of correlate, especially since you've been focusing so hard on it.
Yeah, well, I can give a background on it. Sure. If you mind showing my screen.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is the learning portal on my website, which is learn.revitpure.com. And this is the new course I've released in September, which is called Revit Pure Manage. And in it, I've realized I've talked about more or less about 12 plugins, Revit. So you can see an overview of the course if you go over there. And so I've created this blog post, so spoiler alert, all my favorite plugins are in there. But yeah, all the plugins I teach in this specific course or I mention that are helpful. So I would say it's mostly from a BIM manager point of view, but it's also applicable to any intermediate to advanced Revit user, I think.
Awesome. You
don't necessarily have to be a BIM manager to help to enjoy these plugins.
Awesome. And I'll post links to all this stuff in the description. So awesome. Hey, Mark, welcome. Mark and I were having Mark P. We were having a good conversation on a different video in the comments. It's always cool to see folks. And Scoured is here. We were actually Nick and I were talking about how we recognize some of the comments between the videos, which is awesome, between his show and my show. And then it looks like I love the BIM world is so cool. when people in the chat are chatting with each other and they recognize each other through other online portals and stuff. It's so cool. So Scott is talking to Junior from Jamaica. So cool.
Yeah, it's a great community. I love it.
Awesome. So before we jump in, I'm super excited to do these demos. I am going to swing on over to another segment that is new to this season of mine, which is the Big Bad BIM tip of the week. So let's roll the clip here. And for those of you not familiar with this segment, this is the Big Bad BIM tip of the week, sponsored by Enscape. If you guys don't know what Enscape is, check out my show and Nick's show and my blog and Nick's blog. We've talked about it pretty extensively, but it is a real-time rendering program for Revit. Fantastic, awesome features. If you head on over to enscape.bimafterdark.com, you will get 10% off your subscription to Enscape. Definitely worth it. Check it out for sure. So my tip of the week, and this segment actually, for those of you that don't know, these are tips sent in by you, the audience, and if I choose your tip, I will send you a free t-shirt. So this week it is Davis. I don't remember where you're from, Davis, but I'm sure you'll know the tip. And he was actually emailing me after seeing the episode with Lauren Schmidt from a couple weeks ago on landscape architecture and Revit. And the tip has to do with retaining walls. So I'm going to roll the tip right now, and then we'll get on with it. So lots of people who try to make site walls usually take this approach, which, as you can see, once you're done, kind of looks okay. But if I take a look at how this is drawn, I go to Edit Surface, you'll notice that there's about 1,000 points. And when you create it, anyone who's ever done this, which is actually just placing points at the upper and lower, you'll know that if you don't have enough points, you get this kind of stuff. Okay, so when you're building a retaining wall, a lot of people go through the struggle of trying to make all these points and trying to get them within the wall and trying to get a clean slope, which is obviously a pain in the butt. So this Big Bad BIM tip of the week is actually an awesome tip, and what it has to do with is using a split surface to create two surfaces that makes it really easy to make a nice clean slice at your retaining wall. So we're going to do it really fast. We have an example here where we have a wall, we have topo. I'm going to go to my site view. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Massing and Site. I'm going to click Split Surface, click my surface. I'm just going to draw a line straight through and click Finish. Now we actually have two surfaces, and if I go to Edit Surface, you'll see I have points all on this edge. So if I know this wants to be at 0 feet, I select all those points and make it at 0 feet and click Finish. Then I select this surface and say Edit Surface, select these sides and say I want this to be 5 feet. And I click 5 feet, Finish. Now if I check out my 3D view, you'll see we have this nice clean edge and we have a retaining wall here. So if you've ever had to try and make retaining walls and dealt with that craziness of multiple points and overlapping and all those crazy triangulations that you saw back here, this is an awesome tip. So thanks, Davis, for the tip of the week. All right. So Davis, if you see this episode, shoot me an email. Let me know that you saw your tip here. I thought that was a really cool one, and it was kind of neat because it was inspired by a previous episode. All right, so thanks Enscape again for sponsoring that session. So, Nick, it's time.
All right,
it's time, man. Let's just jump right into it. Remember, guys, this is live. If you're here right now at 9:15 p.m. Eastern U.S., feel free to ask or Quebec. I guess we're the same time zone, right? So if you're here and you have questions about these add-ins or something, and we glaze over it fast, you want to go back, feel free. I will be keeping an eye on the chat. With that, I guess I'm gonna hand it over to you, Nick, and we'll just start talking about where you wanna go with it.
All right. Well, you can have a look at my tabs and see there's a lot going on there, and then all that stuff as well. So lots of plugins. So what I thought I would do is start with the free ones, because who doesn't love free plugins? You don't have to convince your boss to install them.
Maybe IS if you don't have admin rights. That's it.
Yeah, that's admin rights is the only issue you might face. Yeah, with big corporations that might be annoying sometimes. But generally speaking, it's good. So, well, my favorite is probably PyRevit, but I know you had an episode with Asan, so I don't think I'm going to go fully over everything that PyRevit does.
I mean, there are so many tools in PyRevit that we did and we had an entire episode on. So maybe and I'll put a link to the episode with Asan, the creator of PyRevit, and you guys can get a full overview of all the tools. But maybe just your favorite or most used tool within it, because it's basically a bunch of add-ins within an add-in. I mean, there's tons of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my favorite is for sure the make pattern tool. Here, it's the most convenient, and because I know that there were other plugins that could do this, but there were, you needed to pay, and then once again, you need to convince somebody to purchase the plugin. But with this, like for example, you just select the line, click on make pattern, like that. Create pattern. Let's go with it. Click on the bottom left and the top right, and that's it. The pattern has been created. I mean, I'm guessing, I hope that most of you are aware of this. So I'm starting with kind of the obvious stuff here. Let me switch to, perhaps it didn't work actually. Oh, that's funny. Where is it? Let's try again. Or perhaps it's an old version.
Could be.
I'll try once again, else I'll move on. Create field region. Yeah, that's because I didn't check this box. That's it. So let's do it again. That's been created, and now I should see it. Yeah, there it is. My test pattern. So yeah, I'm guessing most of you were aware of this tool because I thought all the time about it. If not, it's okay. But I think I would show other tools that I like from PyRevit. I would say the batch sheet maker for me is a big one. Where is it? The batch sheet maker over there. Mm-hmm. So how do you need to quickly create views? It's one at a time. Although in the latest batch, I think you can duplicate sheets now. Mm-hmm. But still, let's say that you have a range of sheets. And what's the nomenclature, like 2- like this? Like, let's say you have 20 sheets of detailing. So you could just type in this specific sequence that start at 501 because I already have sheets. And then I just need to select a title block. And then you can see what happens in my project browser. Mm-hmm. I've just created a bunch of sheets with the same name. So perhaps with a new version, you could just duplicate them. But I would say that's a one that I use very often. It's one of my favorites in PyRevit.
Awesome. Yeah, and actually, but before we jumped on, I was telling Nick that one of the reasons I like PyRevit is just when you get stuck on something and realize that there's a tool there to help you. And so I was actually copying. I created a bunch of 3D views. They were axons and they were working views. So we were in a session and we were tweaking them and all kinds of stuff. But then I wanted to make perfectly aligned views out of them, but there was a lot of graphic overrides happening because it was a working session, and and I found out that copy state, which is a tool within PyRevit, it actually copies the state of specific things, and believe it or not, it lets you actually copy crop regions from view to view. So I was able to just align all my 3D views to just the perfect ortho, and then I just copied the field region. I had the perfect field region or crop region for all my views. So
you mean the crop region was the same on all the views?
Yep, the same location, same size, everything. So then when I exported it, you had a nice aligned images, which is usually kind of hard to do after the fact, right? A lot of times you want to do that ahead of time and then duplicate your views so it stays. And so this was, you're able to use copy state and then paste state, and then it was able to copy and paste the crop region, which is awesome. Yeah. And I do love how everyone here is talking about their favorite tools within PyRevit, which is really cool.
Yeah, like at this point, I don't think PyRevit is a secret anymore. When I started using it, it kind of was, honestly, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Ernesto said that he's been using the pick tool endlessly since he saw the PyRevit episode, which is definitely a cool one too. It's one of those ones too where if you've been using Revit for a very long time, it actually takes a little while for your mind to do that, to do the pick tool, which is essentially the reverse filter. We don't necessarily have to do it today, but you check out the other episode and you'll see, which is a phenomenal. Yeah,
well, there's a few options, but you can pick between detail and model, for example. And I would say another one that is like the tools, the plugin tools I like the most are the one that I've wasted so much time in my life doing, like
Yep.
absolutely boring, horrible
Mm-hmm.
tasks
Mm-hmm.
and trying to find a solution and failing. And then finally there's a good plugin solution. That's always bliss, you know?
Of course.
So
Of course.
another one is set revisions on sheet,
Hmm.
because by default in Revit, um, it doesn't work. So let's say that I want to set the revision to each of these sheets. I would have to do it manually, which is horrible. So with this, I can select the revision, click on select revision, and then I can, with shift, select all the detailing views and click on set revision. Mm-hmm. And it'll pop up. And then this revision has been set in the revision list, which is, you know, perhaps perhaps most people are using this now, but for me, when I discovered this, it was a pretty big one.
Awesome. So that's PyRevit. Yeah, you can say one more. Go for it.
Yeah, last one. I've got contacted on Twitter by Jean-Marc Couffin and said, "Hey, you need to talk about pre-flight checks."
Pre-flight checks.
And I never tried it.
Yeah,
and you can see it's actually the one that created this tool.
Mm-hmm.
So model checker, it's actually checking models. There you go. And it's basically kind of the diagnostic of your model, with a lot of how many views you have, views not on sheet, unused view templates, schedules not on sheet, critical, warnings separated between kind of okay warnings and critical warnings. It kind of says highlighted walls overlap. So it tells us what warnings they are.
What the warnings are. That's awesome.
So I didn't know about this until I got this Twitter message from Jean-Marc on Twitter.
Wow.
So I didn't have time to explore enough
fantastic.
of it, but then you have all these charts. So pretty interesting.
That's super cool. I didn't know that. I feel like I would have seen that plane and thought about it, but I never really did. Mm-hmm. That's really neat. Awesome. So PyRevit. PyRevit is the first one. I'll put a link to PyRevit as well as the video of PyRevit. Like I said, everyone's already talking about their favorite tool in PyRevit, so I think everyone knows about it. But we got to mention it because it is a fantastic tool.
Then moving on to I don't know if it's you said D-Roots. I usually say Die-Roots.
Oh,
well, it's a short for
D-Roots, Die-Roots, whatever. I wonder what they say. We should have to ask them.
Yeah, well, I had Jose, which is the CEO. It was actually the first guest I ever had on my show.
Did he say Die-Roots?
I think I said Die-Roots, and he didn't correct me. So.
Okay.
Maybe he said D-Roots, I don't remember, but it stands for disruptive roots because he said he wanted to disrupt the plugins market because all of their plugins are free, and that's what's so amazing about it. And a lot of these features can be found on other paid plugins. So it's true that they're disrupting the market. I will say a few that I like. Well, ProSheets is, Jose told me it's the most popular one of their plugins. And it's basically, I think there's a couple like this, but sorry, it's loading currently. I hope it doesn't crash.
Well, while that's loading, I will. Oh, there it is. It's loaded. Okay, go ahead.
There it is. Yeah. And so this allows you to export to many. You can print to PDF, export to CAD, export to IFC, export to Navisworks, all at the same time. And other things you can do, you can have a custom drawing number. So, for example, here, let's say like sheet number should be good, like sheet number, and then I have a custom separator, which would be the star symbol. No, it doesn't work. Let's just use the dash then. Sheet number dash sheet name. Let's put that. Okay, and then now you can see automatically this fills up, and it means that I can export to either CAD or PDF as individual sheets, and it will use this custom name that I've just set up. And then if I go to, I can select a few sheets. If I go to format, you can see all the available formats, which is pretty cool. So all at once, you can check them all, IFC, DWG, PDF, and do it all at the same time.
Which is awesome. And the story I tell with D-Roots or Die-Roots, I guess, is on the construction side of things. Whenever we're getting files from our design partners, and any of my architect friends out there, this is for you. One of the things we always run into is we get a set of PDFs and we ask for CAD and other forms of it, and we always get it takes too long to do, or some sort of format of that. And so my response is always just install this free plugin and you do it at the same time. So all my architect friends out there, install. I'm gonna say D-Roots. I have to say D-Roots. I'm sorry, but install ProSheets.
D-Roots is fine. Yeah. You know what? I'll ask Jose what he thinks.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
and so you can see all the plugins there. I don't think I'll go through all of them, but that was ProSheets. I really like Family Revisor as well because I have my own template that I sell on my website, and once in a while people ask for a custom version of it. Which means that I get to rename all the prefix from RP, which stands for Revit Pure, to something else from their company standards. So there's many things you can do with this, like export, import families, but I usually go straight to edit. And I would say type RP. And right now it is for loadable family, and it's for the family name. So I click on Find All. So let's say that I'm converting the Revit Pure families to BIM After Dark families. Those I just have to let it load for a while. Damn, I need a better computer. Did it just crash on me?
It might have. Nope.
No, it's okay. Yeah, and then I let's say I type in bad. I can click on Replace All. So all the tags, all the families that add the RP prefix now have the bad prefix, and I can click on Apply. So as you can see, though, like it modifies the family name, but not the type name.
Names, got it.
But you can do it as well. It's just a separate step. So then I would have to switch to type name and repeat the same step here. Oh, yeah, it's so again, perhaps I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, you get the idea. So because it's something I used to do, like to manually rename families. And at some point I thought, that's crazy. I need to find a solution. And that's at first, Dynamo can do that for sure. But that plugin is pretty simple and convenient.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I'm obviously a huge fan of Dynamo, and but I always ask people when they're asking me if Dynamo can do something is, have you searched to see if an add-in does it first? Because
it's simpler.
It's great to learn how to script and use Dynamo, believe me. But sometimes it's like, well, if it's there, even if it's a premium, it may be worth your $20 to not make this insanely difficult script. But,
and actually the only thing this plugin doesn't do, and that I had to create a Dynamo script for it, is materials. So. Material menu is always so I have my RP materials here, but with this plugin doesn't work. So I did create a Dynamo package especially to change the prefix of these materials. Nice. Exactly, yeah.
Awesome.
Although perhaps there's a plugin out there that does it.
There might be.
All right. Back to D-Roots. So that was Family Revisor. You can import and export family as well. Another one that I really liked from D-Roots is Paramanager. And because how I don't want to update, sorry. How annoying it is to create parameters in Revit because you have to do it one by one and how long it is. So with this one, let's say I want to create multiple parameters. You can just click as many times as you want. And like you can switch type of parameter. Let's say this one is area, a type, for instance, and then you can quickly set the name here. This one, just do history. All right, and then you can select these 3 parameters. Click on next, and then you can see your parameters here. And now you just need to select the categories. Let's say these parameters go to walls. Do they set it? I think there's probably a way to set. Assign categories. Yeah, here. You can do it for all the parameters at once. Yeah, these ones are missing. Let's do it. assign degrees. This one I'll set Windows.
Those two down there still missing.
Yeah, I forgot these ones. Damn. There you go. Yeah, right. So you've got all these parameters, and so if I select the wall, you can see all these parameters that have been headed. So if you know Revit, typically it's something you have to do one by one, and it also works with shared parameters as well.
I saw that. And the shared
import,
manager, shared editor is also kind
of you can import and export shared parameters. So yeah, basically, if you have lots of parameters in your project and you want to quickly set a lot of them, this is really convenient. And I didn't get into the complete plugin. There's other things you can do. You can edit directly in families as well without having to open them. Basically, you can push parameters to a bunch of families.
It's awesome. Anyone who watched the shared parameter episode I did, which was the first of this season, I think it was like 56 or something like that. I showed the manual process of exporting a shared parameter, and this was the tool. I think I might have mentioned there's a tool, but this is the tool that would allow you to find them all. If you didn't have the shared parameter file, find them all, and you can pump them out to a shared parameter file without doing one by one or recreating. So this droots was the tool I had in mind, but I think there are a couple other ones that do that, but I do like the way this one does it.
All right, so there's other SheetGen View Manager, but the last one I think of the droots I'll mention is SheetLink, and this one is to work with Excel with schedule to export the schedule to Excel. So do I have? Yeah, basically you can decide if you want to export elements from your model to basically create from scratch a schedule that will be directly in Excel, or you can select a pre-made schedule. So let's say this door schedule that is already available for my project, and I can see all selected parameters here. And if I remember correctly, the green parameters are instance, the yellow are type, and the red ones are parameters that cannot be modified outside of it because it's from room.
So you can pull them, but you can't push to them is red.
Yeah, exactly. So then you can export. Let me do it quickly. To a door schedule. I know that BIM1 has one as well. Excel import export for.
And I know a lot of people do this through Dynamo as well.
Yeah, it's possible. But here is my schedule that was originally created in Revit, but now I can start to mess around. What parameters should I modify? Perhaps the G. What is that? Yeah, this is a number. So let's say one of the door becomes bad. Let me save this. That on my desktop or not? Should be. It's already there. All right, let me close this. And now I can import from. So let me show. I have this door schedule over there. So this is what I've exported to Excel by using this droots tool. And if I go back, getting lost in my tabs, getting back to SheetLink. And yeah, something else quickly that. Oh wait, I just had a small bug. Yeah, and then I can click on import from here over there. Click on import, select this door schedule, and model updated successfully. And you can see that this the only change I made is that this door, the number, which is the mark of the door, changed from to GBAD. That sounds like a boys band or something.
No, that's awesome. And again, yeah, that's a tool that you see in other add-ins as well as with Dynamo, but it's free and it works great, and that's awesome. Great. Cool.
Yeah, and it's funny. Now that I think of it, I think the first time I heard of this plugin, it was shown to me by a student in a course I teach here. And there's a homework assignment that I asked them to find a problem and the solution, an automated solution they found for the problem. And one of them showed me this plugin, and it was basically for a hardware consultants for doors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have all these hardware components, but it's somebody else who does all the work.
Mm-hmm.
And so before then, that they had to manually type in all the values back to Revit.
Oh yeah.
But at some point, they said, what if we just import the schedule to Revit and everything is done automatically?
Yeah, that was one of the first Dynamo scripts I ever wrote, was bringing in hardware numbers from a hardware schedule from the door supplier into the door schedule. Awesome. So PyRevit and droots. I'm sticking with droots. We can figure out what the droots folks think, but I'm sticking with droots.
Yeah, ScarDX is saying the roots.
He's saying the root, so whatever.
The roots.
Oh boy. Okay, so PyRevit and droots. So what's next?
Yeah, where's my? Just give me a sec. I'll have a look. Yeah, let's talk about Color Splasher, because you mentioned it was that's something you've learned. So shout out to BIM1. They're based here in Quebec City. They're mostly known for making BIMTrack, a BIM collaboration tool, but they also made this cool tool. Let me go to a 3D view to showcase it. Color Splasher. It always pops up on my second screen. Okay, so what this plugin done is I would say it's filters on steroids to colorize your views.
Yep.
So let's say that I select the walls, and then what parameters should I select? I mean, length would be interesting in this case. So I select the walls, I select length, and then I click on rainbow. So you can see there's a little gradient, and I click on apply color set. And what this does, so the longer walls will have more of this green shade, and the short walls will have more of a darker shade. But you can do this with any parameters. You can do this for area, for example. I can do the rainbow again. Or window. Let's do the window height.
Yep.
So basically, you can use any parameters, any categories, or almost any categories, I think.
There's some limitations, but I was surprised. I've always been surprised with how many you can do, which is awesome. And
yeah, there's a couple of ones I've checked for Vision Clouds, for example, that's not available. That was some research, but most parameters are there. Then you can save and load the schema, I guess. And the way it works with overrides. So it sets a graphical override to the element.
Yep. And so when I first used this tool, I was excited. I thought it was going to create a filter, an individual filter for every single thing that it did, which would be really neat. But at the same time, this is pretty cool too, because then it's just applied to the view itself, and you could just always clear the overrides and redo it and stuff. But to your point, this to me is a huge tool. Filtering and conditioning models. This is what part of the reason we use Assemble Systems, which I think I did an episode on that. If not, I did a tutorial on that. But is because it has a tool called Color by Property, which is very similar to this, where you're coloring the model by property values. So like you just showed, height, width, length, all those things you can show, but also types. Right, so if you get a model from someone and you didn't make the model, but you want to quickly see how many wall types are there, what are the wall types? Can I visually see them? In this color thing, it's super cool and super powerful. And I actually think it's probably runs way quicker with a graphic override than if it was to create a filter for all of those things.
Probably,
and it'd
so,
probably
yeah,
be more limited, right? Because then you're limited to what the filtering can do, right? Awesome. So that's Color Splasher by BIM1, right?
Yeah. Let me just bring
TM BIM Services in the chat said, yeah, filters on the fly would be pretty sweet. Yes. I can imagine on the back end though, just thinking about that, that would be pretty challenging. Not to mention, I bet you'd have a lot more limitations to what you can and can't color as well.
All right, let's talk about I think is it over there? Yeah, BIM tools by Sophistic. Like the logo of Sophistic is not there, but you can Google it. I think they have some paid plugins, but I think this one is free. At least I never got asked for money for it. So BIM tools, you can see over there what it looks like. And but there's a lot of tools going on. I'll be honest, the one that I was looking for is called Change Font over there. And again, I've mentioned how plugins I like the most are the ones that I have painful memories of boring tasks that I did.
Yep.
And I remember changing the template standards, the font from a template back like in 2014, something like that. And I tried to find a plugin like that. It didn't exist, or perhaps it did, but I didn't know. And so I went to all the families and changed all the fonts one by. It took me like a week. It was horrible. And so when I found this font, and let's say I have my own template and I sell my template to a client and they ask for their own custom font. Well, you go to Change Font over there. Hopefully it doesn't crash on me. There you go. Okay, so element filters. So text font equals to Arial. It's Swiss. Yeah, I use Swiss a lot on my template. So, and then the font properties, I'll switch to, what do you think I'll pick? Comic Sans, of course.
Oh boy. Oh no.
And I'll make it red. So Comic Sans in not red. I can pick more funky color. Let's say purple. And then you can check if you want for dimension, symbol, tags, text, and title blocks. Tags and title blocks. Sometimes you have a lot of tags and a lot of title blocks. So it can be quite long and painful.
Awesome.
And so, apply. I think I have to click OK. That might be working on it for a while because it has to modify a few families. So that's the moment where you can grab your beer.
Exactly. City Blueprint, Wingdings. Everyone's screaming out fonts. No, we went with Comic Sans. Oh boy. Oh man, City Blueprint. That's funny. I remember. It's interesting to see the architecture text sort of fading away a little bit. I see less and less of it.
Yeah, well, that's funny because that was actually, we had the office I used to work at. They had this architect font. Yeah, I think because with CAD, people thought our CAD drawings need to look exactly like old drawings.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And then at some point, I'm like, well, do we really need to do that?
And then also that they couldn't, if it was an SHX or whatever, and then they realized they couldn't use it in Revit at first. I think that also helped. But it is funny. I see less and less architecture font drawings. You know what I mean? Definitely don't see any Comic Sans drawings though. Thank God.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Doesn't that look nice?
It's beautiful. But that's really cool though, because I have also done that a couple times where I've updated templates over the years and updated fonts across, call outs, sections, view titles, right? You go down the list and you realize how many areas you actually have to do that. So super cool. So that was Sophistics. And I'll put links to all these.
It's called BIM Tools by
Sophistics. From Sophistics. And then that tool was Change Font.
Awesome. And I'm pretty sure it's free.
Awesome.
Pretty sure it's free. And they have other things. I'll be completely honest, I didn't try their other things. There
it looks like there's some interesting ones, but again, the point is to show how you use them and what you use them for. So that's good. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, as you can see so far, there's the plugins I like the most, like these really boring tasks that I can automate, and especially when it comes to customizing a template, because it's tasks that I do a lot.
Definitely.
And all right. So what's next? Let me look at my list.
Sure. So recap, I think we did PyRevit, we did DRoots, and then we did BIM Tools we did Color Splasher from BIM 1, and then we did BIM Tools, and then the Change Font app from BIM Tools, which is from Sophistics. I'll put all these links, don't worry, and I'll also link to your blog post so everyone can see those.
Yeah, there's another one where there is the add-in tab over there. Oh man, we got all this stuff as well. The other one I wanted to talk about is called Isolate Warnings, and it's a free. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's still in development. So I'm not sure if there's a 2022 version. But what it does, so first I need to go to the warnings menu. When there's the manage tab, there you go. So I go to the warnings. I click on export, and I can export my warnings to HTML file.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put that on the desktop. Click on export. Yeah, no, that's done already. Okay, and then I can go to the Edits tab, select isolate warnings, and it says this tool would read blah blah blah. Okay, and then you need to select the HTML file I've just exported.
Mm-hmm.
And then what this does is that it's create two views. First is called override warning elements. And you can see all elements affected by warning will appear with green solid fill and red lines like this. You can see, well, it seems this window is, or yeah, I think it's the wall actually that has a warning. It seems to be this overlapping wall over there. And the other one is called, the other view that it creates is isolate warning elements. So all of these elements have a warning in them. And so that I know that needs to be resolved. So if you want to solve your warnings, at the office, we used to do like Friday warnings moment where we'll try to get through a bunch of warnings and clean the model. So that would be a good tool to save some time.
Yeah, for sure. And Eldon in the chat said it has been upgraded to 2022.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah, cool to know.
I'm not sure if Eldon, if you're the one who made it, cool. But if you just are familiar with it, then that's awesome. No, that's a great tool. That's awesome. So that was isolate warnings, and we'll put a link to that as well. But you do have to, so the process there, for those of you who maybe missed some of the steps there, was you do have to export your warning report
exactly,
and then it reads that, and then it makes these graphic overrides, which is
the
cool.
HTML file. Yeah, I'll go back quickly. That this is the warnings menu. Just click on export there, and it's a .html file, and that's what you need to work with this plugin.
Awesome.
And talking about warnings, there's another one from ID8 where I just talked to this afternoon. They were very kind to share their entire plugin suite. So now we're moving from the free plugin to the paid plugin. So I've started with the free ones.
Got it. We're making the shift.
So this one, I don't know the cost though. I didn't memorize them all, but just Google them if you're interested. So the one I'm using is ID8 Explorer. Although you can see they have a lot of stuff going on. And what I'm interested in is the warnings over there. So, warnings, they're kind of mysterious. Like you hear the advice, you need to solve them. And what you hear is that they make your model bigger and they slow down your model. Well, from what I understand is that it's a myth that they make your model bigger. Like your model won't be bigger with more warnings. However, it is true that they slow down your model because performance issues, but not all of them. Some of them do.
Right.
And the ones that are the worst would be in red within this plugin. They're classified by priority. And so this one, there are identical instances in the same place. So the warnings that cause the most problems are the one like duplicate geometry or walls intersection or things that cannot compute, or if you're an MEP, if you cannot calculate the air volume, stuff like that,
right?
That's causing issues as well. But you can see some of them, they're not a big deal. How many times do you see this one? The walls is slightly off axis and might cause inaccuracies. So this is classified as green by default. And it's not a big deal. I mean, it's better to solve it, but it won't cause major performance issues, not as much as these other ones were there. And yeah, with this plugin, you can sort and you can see like how many warnings are afflicted to specific elements. You can filter by high ranked warnings.
It looked like was it selecting the elements too? When
like this, you can search. So basically, because the warnings menu in Revit is not very good, right? It doesn't give you a lot of information.
Right.
So this is a warnings menu on steroids.
Awesome.
And they have the navigate and explore feature as well. So it's got a super project browser, I would say. I haven't had that much time to explore it, to be perfectly honest. But the warnings menu is pretty interesting for me, at least. Especially since warnings tend to be a little mysterious, and so that might help.
It looks like it's
guide users.
Yeah, it's highlighting and in section boxing, which is pretty cool if you wanted to, which is kind of neat. It looks like Um, huh. Cool. All right, so that was ID8 Explorer, right?
Ideate Explorer, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I was
sorry, I
just.
think I had a sound issue for the last minute. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
hear
Can you
you.
hear me now?
So if I talk over you, that
No.
was not my.
Can you hear me now? Is the question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I was just saying it looked like it was selecting the objects, which is kind of neat. Like as you were going through the filter,
Hmm.
a couple people
Yeah,
are mentioning the coins auto selection box, auto section box, which in the chat, which I don't think you mentioned, but I thought, and I guess it's still
hmm
around. I thought it was kind of obsolete because it exists in Revit now, like the auto section box type of thing. But
Yeah.
whatever, I guess it's still there. So I guess it probably has other features maybe beyond the auto section box that Revit has. But okay. Anyways, awesome. So that was ID8's Explorer.
Hmm.
What do you got
Ideate
next? Oh,
Explorer
and
and make
we are moving into the paid realm. So these are from
the
now on.
paid
These are more
realm.
the paid
So all right,
tools.
what do we have? Oh yeah, there's another free one that I didn't mention. This great one called Dynamo. It's actually in my list. I thought it was pretty funny to add it, but
You missed
obviously we
the
won't
big
talk about
free
it.
one there, right?
Yeah, the paid. Yeah, there's another one. I would say at this point I'm not even sure. Yeah, I don't like it that much, but it's made by Autodesk. It's the
Mhm.
BIM interrupt. I have so much trouble saying that word, interoperability
Interoperability
tool.
tools. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And what this does, you can do a lot with this, but there's what is called a check set, and it's called Revit Model Best Practice for Revit 2020. And see that flight check that we had with
Hmm.
PyRevit, it's pretty similar.
Hmm.
So if I run a report, it's pretty long though. I hope it doesn't spend too much time. It basically goes to the whole model.
Hmm.
And what I like it about it, it makes a list of all the families and classify them by their size. So you can see, oh, there's one of the family has 12 megabytes, for example,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is bad.
It looks like everyone is still using coin section box, so I apologize for offending you guys with the coin section box. But I guess it does have some more features. So all right, I'll have to check it out. I haven't used it in a long time because I just select elements and press BX on my keyboard and it does a section box around it. But I think it makes a view and it creates it does other things. Okay, I got it. And I will say with the interoperability tools, my only experience with them is the Kobe side of it, and
Okay.
so they have the Kobe extension. So when you're working on federal projects, especially in the United States, they require Kobe, and it's definitely
Mhm.
helpful as far as that's concerned. But I haven't really used any of the
Yeah,
modules
so I
recently.
kind of regret starting this
You
plugin
regret
because
running
I
that.
just remember how slow it is and it takes forever. But
And are you going to be able to stop it? Is the question. That's the question.
yeah, but I have, you know what? I have Revit 2022 right there that
There you go.
magically pops up. What is this project though? It's another project. I can use it meanwhile. Um, add-ins. Guardian for Revit. So I had a whole episode about Guardian on my live show with Paulie Burnett, which is the founder and CEO.
Hmm.
And this is a pretty interesting one. Resume. I don't know if I have to activate this for this project. Okay, I have my login. Do I need to do something? Because yeah, there's a tool. Do I have access to it now? Sorry about that. Just trying to remember.
Could it be because of what's happening on the other Revit?
Perhaps, yeah, the Revit 2020 is slowing down this one, but it has a lot of feature to basically protect your model.
Hmm.
And one of them is protected pin. Right now, it's not available, so I'm not sure why. I think I might need to activate this project into it.
Hmm.
So there's a project. Where is this located? I think I'll use this one.
Man, I really did upset people with this coin section box. I'm so sorry. For those of you that don't know, in Revit since like 2018 or something like that, when you select objects in any view, if you type BX on the keyboard or hit that little teeny thing that looks like a section box, it does the same thing as coins, and that's why I said it's obsolete. But okay, I'm sorry. You guys enjoy coins. I will install it and try it out because everyone seems to love it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, is this still running? Perhaps I complete. Yeah, it's still running. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Okay. So perhaps I shouldn't use this plugin at all. Finally. So all right, let me open a file that I know I've set up using Guardian.
No problem. So Guardian, you have to you also have to assign projects to it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really interesting and complex plugin. Mm-hmm. So I would say that you need some setup to get it going. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it works. Now I have the feature because it was. But one of the things you can do, for example, so this is my project, and I can create. This is just an example. It can do many things, but I can create a protected pin. It already has one. Oh, like hey, the other one. Meanwhile, yeah, this one finished. So it gives you a report. You can see how slow it was. So I'm kind of reluctant to actually recommend this plugin. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the part I like the most is probably this one. You can see the whole list of families. Mm-hmm. So it seems, generally speaking, doing well. Although there's this window family that is 1.6 megabyte, which mm-hmm. is might be a little too on the heavy side. Then you have all the purgeable elements, model groups, detail groups, in-place families, how many of them you have in the list, and you can mm-hmm. highlight them in the project. Works at, basically all the information on your project. Mm-hmm. So it's something you could run in theory like once a week to make mm-hmm. sure that your model is going okay.
Mm-hmm. And I believe interoperability tools are free to any Autodesk subscribers, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's free, but I haven't seen the 2022 release, so I don't know if the Autodesk abandoned the project or not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so you can see that this wall already has a protected pin. And what's funny about it is that you can set a comment. So mm-hmm. if somebody tries to unpin this wall, I'm back to the Guardian plugin for those who are confused about jumping between multiple plugins. So I'm back to Guardian. So I really want this wall so nobody can move it. I'm logged as the admin. I make a pin and I add this comment. So the WTF do don't unpin. And let's go back. So that it was already added. And now basically it's automatic. I just needed to remember. Yeah, when you pin an element, like Guardian will ask you, well, do you want to mm-hmm. add a protected pin to this as well? And you can just say, no, it's okay. Allow users to unpin or warn users when attempting to unpin. And mm-hmm. then you can ask them to have a password mm-hmm. to actually unpin the element. And then you can say, never unpin this, please. So that's more polite than the other one. And but that's just a fraction of what you can do. Mm-hmm. And for example, let me load a family. Yeah, I mean, I had a whole session about this plugin, so it's pretty complex.
And we'll do a link to it. But again, just mentioning it, showing a couple little tools.
Yeah, it's kind of a BIM manager. If you're having issues with standards that are changing and stuff like that, so you can see Guardian ask me what you want to do with this family. So I can click on let me choose which properties to keep, and then I can map. So which means there's these materials here. So I can say the default light source, you can map it. And I can say, okay, from now on, whenever this default light source materials come on, I want you to use the RP carpet instead. Mm-hmm. So you set the rule, but then for each time you import a material with the same name, it will automatically be transferred to that other material. Mm-hmm. So it's way to protect your standards. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as I've mentioned while we're chatting, for example, if you import a drafting view or detail from an old project and the line style have changed, you can map So from when you load to a new project, you can map the old line style to the new one, so you don't like pollute your new project with a random bunch of crap and old standards.
Yeah, Guardian is definitely the BIM manager's tool. It is, I mean for the most part, the hardest part about BIM management is people following people following the template and standards that you create as a BIM manager. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
this at least helps it helps not have the rogue Reviters out there, which everyone is these days.
Yeah,
It looks
and
like BIM
if
operation tools does exist for 2022 according to Bobby in the chat. So
the BIM operation tools, like
BIM,
the
the interoperability tool, sorry.
oh, okay, perhaps they just released it like a couple
Or
of months
maybe it's
ago.
one of those weird things, the subscription center. I mean, the Autodesk subscription download area can be kind of wonky
Yeah.
sometimes.
So and let's say now that so right now it was an admin, so I control all the settings. But if you have the regular license as well. So in Guardian you have like the admin and the regular users. So now I'm just a regular user. And if I try to unpin this, like I've got this this message, like you can put your own logo. This is an element in your section that your administrator is protected from unpinning. Here's a message from your administrator and says, whatever.
Awesome. All right, I think I just lost Nick. So I'm not sure if he's coming back. Sorry guys. Hopefully you still see me and it was me or him and not me. So let's see. Oh, wait. I think he's coming back. Nick, are you there?
Yeah.
Wait, we dropped you for a second. I don't know if it was me or you.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh,
sorry about
that. There you are. All right. All right. Yeah, if you want to share your screen real quick and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we lost you for a second there. Let me
yeah, I don't know, my internet's playing. I had a few issues yesterday on the stream as well.
Awesome. Okay, Guardian. So let's try and pick, if you have one or two more, wrap it up with one or two of your favorite more if we didn't hit it yet.
Yeah, let's have a look. So I think I went through them all, which is pretty good. So there is RTV Exporter Pro. I would say I don't actually use this one, but it's been recommended to me by students, and my students in their job, each Friday they had to export a big set of PDF and CAD files. Do I have it here? Yeah, and so this one is called Exporter Pro. I will say the user interface can be quite something. It's not the most user friendly.
Yeah, I have seen this one, so I know exactly where you're going with this.
But you can set up a task, and like each Friday at like 2 a.m. Oh, it says my trial is expired. Yeah, this is a paid one.
Because you get
Perhaps I won't be able to demonstrate it. Yeah,
but you're right. So I guess to run it down for folks, it does do automatic exporting of various formats similar to the DRoots tool, ProSheets, but it does have the scheduler, which is kind of neat. So you could have whatever day you choose, every Friday at 5 p.m. it creates the export of the scene, which is
exactly. And I remember, as I'm working in the office, like each Friday we had to create a set of plans, and sometimes it was quite a long task, and it took a while, and the computer was busy during that time. You can use it, so you can schedule it in the middle of the night if you want. And Revit doesn't have to be open. Revit can be closed, and it will automatically open Revit, do the task, create the PDFs, create the CAD files, and then close it down. So that's what I like about it.
So I'm interested, I guess, for the last one. I'm interested in and I think this was in the other file, and I don't know if this is something you wanted to talk about, but you did have some framing going on over there.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see.
I was exploring that today.
Yeah, I would love to see what that was about.
Yeah, because I'm working with clients these days. Do I have? Let me rename this. Create a new 3D view. All right, so let's create a new uh, random wall. This will be, and let's put a bunch of random openings. So I'm working with clients that are in prefab. So real quick, let's put in a little bit of transparency. Yeah, just like this. And yeah, this one is called wood framing. And you just select the wall and you click on frame wall. This one is called, it's from AgaCAD.
AgaCAD, yep.
AgaCAD. And I click here on frame wall. And you can, there's a bunch of settings you can set up. In this case, I'm just using kind of the default ones. But check this out. This is trial. I think, it's a paid plugin. And these kind of advanced modeling plugins tend to be on the more expensive side usually. But I don't have the full details for this one.
Yeah, TM BIM Services in the chat said he uses it for precast plugin every day, which is really neat.
So check this out. So you can see it's been framed, and it also does the opening, which is pretty great, right? And so you might say, well, there are a few things you wouldn't do this way. Do you need this, or why isn't this centered? But you can these are settings you can customize. That's so awesome. I think that's pretty cool because I've been watching a lot of videos. I think you have a couple ones about that.
Yeah, different ways to approach framing studs and stuff. Yeah.
I've seen a few from Balkan as well, and sometimes it's like using curtain walls or stuff like that. But that's kind of a mess. So I was hoping for a solution like this. So this is pretty amazing. Like the only downside is the cost of the plugin, which I'm not sure exactly what it is.
According to TM BIM Service in the chat, he said it's like $3,000 a year, so it's pretty expensive. But I guess depending on what you do, that may be worth every penny, right? I think there's the only other one I can think of, which I don't know if it's still around. I played around with it a while ago, was Strucsoft, which had I think MWF framing. I don't even know if it's still around. Probably is. But that
it is. Yeah, I've actually contacted them. Yeah, I'm exploring all the options,
especially for cold form metal framing. That was always a great tool. The ones that I wanted to mention that we weren't going to focus on today, but you'll notice in all of our tabs we have, which are the visualization ones like Enscape, and you'll always see Enscape, Twinmotion, and Lumia on the top of my screen, and then you'll always see the Navisworks plugins too and stuff like that. But that was awesome. Cool. Is there any last ones before we wrap up that you really wanted to show, or
Yeah, but I would say one that I'm exploring right now. Is Avail. So I'm in the middle of exploring it. But I would say, I've said the same expression a few times now, but it's a family browser on steroids. Because it's not only a family browser, you can actually include like legends, schedules, drafting views, detailings. And what it does, there's a tool here called Avail Harvest. And what do I have? Yeah, this one I'll have a simple project. So I can harvest everything inside that model and make it part of my library in the Avail browser that I can use.
So that's like a serious transfer project standards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Transfer project everything.
And then you can have multiple channels, which are categories that, so you can see what I can include. And now I select my destination channel. Let's say it's Revit Pure content. There's a bunch of other options I don't yet understand, but you can say, I don't want to include sheets, families, or system families. I just want like drafting views, legends, and schedule for this one. So I click on start.
Some people are mentioning some interesting things. People seem to like Avail.
Avail works with multiple software as well. It's not just Revit. It works with all the usual suspect in the BIM realm, in the SketchUp as well, and Rhino. And it actually has a desktop app that can serve as kind of a super file explorer for content. So
it looks like quite a few people know about the AgaCAD tools, which is pretty cool. There's definitely some neat framing tools in there, which is pretty sweet. Um, and of course the rendering plugins. Awesome. As far as OCTC tools, that's the other one I was thinking of. And so Avail, I mean, it looks like it's more than just the family browser. Have you, the one that I haven't used recently because I just haven't done a ton of high production stuff on the construction side where I'm managing gigantic libraries of families, but I used to use the Kiwi Codes family browser. So have you do you use a family browser externally or an add-in for family browsing? Or
I've used the Kiwi Codes for at my first job kind of a while ago, but recently I've been looking for something else. And Avail is more than that. Like it does a lot of things. It can manage a lot. So it seems like to be finally done. So let me see. Avail Learning. So there's this browser over there, and you can see all the. Yeah, you can see now. There's my detailed components. So I guess this is a view that I had in this project, and now it's part of the browser. I could see in any project, and I could bring in. So let's say you have a firm doing lots of standard detailing. You can have your library of detail instead of it being in a container file or having to go back to old projects. You can set it in your Avail browser, and then, for example, I can click on the load selected project, and it should pop up over there.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is from a wood project that I did, but yeah, you can quickly load families like that.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. Nicholas, thanks for joining again. This was cool.
That was
we went
fun.
through a whole list. I'll definitely link to your blog post as well as all the individual items. I hope you guys in the chat found some new tools that you didn't know about. I know, like I said, the Color Splasher one a day or two ago is the first I heard about it, and I was super pumped because that is super helpful for me. People are actually chiming in with a bunch of other tools in there, so definitely check out the chat if you're watching the replay. Any final words, Nick, before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, talking about plugins, I know that there's the color tabs. Do you use that one?
Oh, so I use, there's two that I use, and it depends on which install I have or which computer I'm on, essentially. But yeah, so there's Parallax Tools has a tab browse plus thing, and so I believe actually if you go to, oh crap, I need to remember it now. Hold on. Is it PLAX? Yeah, if you go to plax.bimafterdark.com, I think you will get a discount on the Tab Views Plus for Revit, which is a really good one. And then there is one that comes with PyRevit. The difference is the PyRevit one is kind of like a colored line, and the Tab Plus is actually coloring the whole thing. It's a little bit easier to see. So it's Parallax Tools. So Aaron and John and the crew down there. But that is super helpful, and anyone who's ever sat in a meeting and flipped through 30 views to get to your project when you have like 3 projects open, you realize the value of having colored tabs per project.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and final thing I might mention is you can have a look at my courses at learn.revitpure.com, and I've created a special code. Code is BIM After Dark. If you enter, you'll get 15% off on any of the course. I would say the most interesting, like to more intermediate to advanced user, is probably this managed course I've just released. I'm really pumped up about this one. It's been in the works for a really long time. And it's basically all the little tips that I've learned among the years. You can see I've looked like project browser, line weights, code boxes, filters, phases, tags, parameters, plan notes, keynotes, schedules, coordinates, model health, warnings, sheets, Dynamo. Anyway, all complicated topics in Revit.
Awesome. Wow.
Pretty happy about it.
That's awesome. So if you guys use promo code BIM After, you said?
BIM After Dark, yeah.
BIM After Dark, then you'll save 15% off of any of your content, which is awesome. Thanks for
15% off, yeah.
That's great. And I'll put links and information to that as well. So Nick, thanks again for joining today.
Thanks. That's always a blast to be with you.
Of course, and congratulations again on another season. So check out his channel as well with all his great content. Thank you guys for joining us today. I appreciate it, sticking with us even through a couple technical difficulties there. It's a live show. What are you going to do, right? It's awesome. Awesome. Always great in the chat. Great to see you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Thank you to Enscape for sponsoring the Big Bad BIM tip of the week. And also thank you to Polycam for sponsoring this episode. Remember, that's polycam.bimafterdark.com. You guys are amazing. I'll see you again next week, this time 9 p.m. Got an awesome guest, another great topic. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.